Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to reintroduce myself from last week. My name is John Durkin, and it's my pleasure to represent Jordan Lamonde, the defendant in this case. And we thank you and his family thanks you for sitting on the case today. The person in the video that you're going to see shortly is Jordan Lamonde. The person who hit Aaron McCarthy multiple times is Jordan Lamonde. The person who had an immature, unacceptable, and completely inappropriate response to being the victim of a crime perpetrated by Aaron's boyfriend is Jordan Lamonde. And the prosecutor has brought a series of very serious charges against Jordan. They're all criminal offenses. They're all punishable by incarceration. There are 3 charges of simple assault and 1 charge of second-degree assault. And it's that second-degree assault that charges that Jordan was acting with the extreme indifference to the values of Aaron's life. Now, Jordan should be held accountable. He should be held accountable for his immature, inappropriate, and offensive response to being the victim of a crime. And holding him accountable would mean that you all should jointly convict him of one of the misdemeanor charges of simple assault. Not all 3, and certainly not second-degree assault. Let's talk about that second-degree assault. In order for you all to find Jordan guilty of second-degree assault, the state would have to present evidence and convince you beyond a reasonable doubt of the following. They would have to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt that Jordan was aware of a substantial and unjustifiable risk of death to his crime. That Jordan consciously disregarded that risk of death in his crime. And that Jordan acted with the extreme indifference to Aaron's life. Not just extreme indifference to her safety. Not just extreme indifference to injury. Not even just extreme indifference to serious bodily injury. Extreme indifference to her life. A blatant disregard as to whether or not she would still be alive after this altercation. And there's simply not evidence in this case to support that. You're going to get the opportunity in a moment. I'm going to show you the video that the prosecutor spent several minutes describing. And I want you to point out a few things that you might not see in the video. You can judge for yourself what you do see in the video. But you're not going to see a gun. You're not going to see a knife. You're not going to see any blunt object. There's no weapon at all. You're not going to see any blue lights or sirens that come to the rescue. You're not going to see a third party or some kind of good Samaritan pulling Jordan away from this encounter. You're not going to see any car pull up and cause Jordan to run away. What you're going to see is this encounter, Jordan ended this encounter on his own without the intervention of anybody else. In the video, you're not going to see Jordan making any verbal threats to Aaron about her life. He's not saying, I'm going to kill you. You will see that the whole physical altercation lasted about 28 seconds. It begins at 10:02 and 40 seconds on the video, and it ends at 10:03 and 8 seconds. And after Jordan stopped, he never returned. You'll see Aaron in the video. She's able to get up, gather her things, and make her way back into Planet Fitness. She's able to walk on her own, and she's talking, and she's breathing. In a moment here, I'm going to get this video and show it. This, I'm sure, won't be the only time that you get to see it, but let me prop it up in the bay. I know everyone's used to 50-inch screen televisions these days, but like I said, this is not the only time you'll have to see this. Just pause for a second. That's the end of the physical altercation. Jordan is the male and Aaron McCarthy is the female depicted in this video. What you're going to learn in the evidence in this case is after that 28-second altercation, Jordan never returns to the scene and he never contacts Aaron McCarthy. Aaron McCarthy waits on the scene, EMTs respond, they assess her, there's no loss of consciousness, no broken bones, nothing that requires stitches, no casts, no crutches, nothing like that, no serious injuries at all. He's nowhere close to death, nowhere close to experiencing serious violence. A few days later, WMUR, Channel 9, contacts Aaron McCarthy and she gives an interview with one of the reporters and tells the interviewer that she's doing okay emotionally, doing okay physically. Yeah, nowhere close to death. Back to the charge of second-degree assault. The judges were going to instruct you at the end of the case prior to your deliberations that you should look at the surrounding facts to determine if the state has proven to you beyond a reasonable doubt that Jordan was acting with extreme indifference to the value of human life, whether he had a blatant disregard as to whether Aaron would survive her life after that altercation. So let's take a look at some of those surrounding facts. A lot of it is what you see in the video, or what you don't see in the video. There's no weapon, no gun, knife, no blunt object, no weapon whatsoever. I know this sort of goes without saying, but nobody did die. Nobody did suffer serious violent injuries. No one needed surgery or stitches or any treatment whatsoever other than some bandages on the finger. There's no threat to kill him. No statement that I'm going to kill you or anything to that effect. Nobody had to break this up. Jordan ended this on his own. Not because of police sirens, not because of a third party intervening, not because of someone pulling him off. He ended it on his own after 28 seconds. And we know that Aaron was doing well because he told that to WMUR just a few days later. So this is not in any way to diminish what Aaron went through that day. But how can the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt Jordan was acting with extreme indifference to her life, with a blatant disregard of whether she would still be alive after this altercation, when there's no serious injury, there's no threats on her life verbally, and no weapon, 28-second encounter, and it ended on his own. He never contacted her. The prosecutor in his opening had made some mention about a plan, Jordan's plan. Let's talk about that plan to the extent it was a plan. Well, that plan involved no weapon. That plan was to be brief. That plan was not to cause any injury. And that plan was to end it without further intervention. And while that is completely immature, completely unacceptable, completely inappropriate, it does not rise to the level of acting with extreme indifference to the value of human life. It is not a blatant disregard for whether Aaron McCarthy would still be alive after that. The charge of second-degree assault is out of proportion with the facts. The judge will instruct you that in trials, you look at the facts. You don't speculate about what might have happened. You look at the facts. We follow the law rather than a gut reaction to a video. And it's your job as jurors to scrutinize those facts and to see if they add up to the charges that the prosecutor decided. Our criminal justice system is rooted in our state and federal constitutions. Those constitutions establish the bedrock principles of the American justice system. And they embody the wisdom of our founding fathers, who knew that it would be inappropriate to put the burden of disproving a case with the defendant, who knew how unfair it would be to make a defendant prove he didn't do something, and how difficult it would be to have a defendant prove that something didn't happen the way the prosecutor thought it happened. You're going to hear about these things in the judge's instructions. One is the presumption of innocence. Jordan Lamonde comes in here an innocent person. And at the end of the case, I'll ask you, yes, you may find him guilty on one of the simple assaults, but not all three. But please do not find him guilty on the charge of second-degree assault. The prosecutor, one of the other things is the prosecutor bears the burden of proof. The prosecutor brought these charges. It's because the prosecutor brought these serious charges. The prosecutor has to prove each and every element beyond a reasonable doubt. If one or more of the elements of any of the charges is not proven to you beyond a reasonable doubt, the judge will instruct you that you must find the defendant not guilty. The other thing the judge will instruct you on is the burden of proof, the high standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This is not preponderance of the evidence, which is the standard used in a civil case if someone were to be suing somebody else for money damages, like say from a car accident. It's not clear and convincing evidence, which is the standard of proof used in some fraud cases. It's proof beyond a reasonable doubt, the absolute highest standard in the American justice system. And if the state fails to prove any element beyond a reasonable doubt, again, the judge will instruct you that you must enter the finding of not guilty. The prosecutor here is overreaching. The prosecutor is hoping that you'll see the video and ignore the law, ignore the facts. But the facts here simply do not support second-degree assault. Thank you for your time.